Ford making some moves in the mobility market. I'm joined now by the automaker's president and CEO, Mark Fields. Mark, good to see you.
Nice to see you, Rhonda.
You made a couple of announcements today. First of all, you're going to start working with cities like San Francisco to develop transportation and mobility services. So tell us a little bit more about what's behind that decision.
Well, overall, our view is that cities are continuing to grow. By any estimate, about 50% of the world's population lives in cities today. That'll probably go to 60% in the next 10 to 15 years. And obviously that causes a lot of issues within cities around congestion, around people being able to get around, or goods and services to be able to be delivered. And so cities are saying they have this issue, and we want to be part of solving that issue for them. So we're making a series of announcements today, and it's really around holistically looking at for lack of a better term, an ecosystem of how citizens can get around the city. So we're making an announcement around acquiring a shuttle service, a crowdsourced shuttle service here in San Francisco. We're making an announcement about working with a bike sharing company so that we can expand bike sharing in the city. And we're announcing that we're forming actually a special department within Ford called City Solutions to work with cities to understand their needs so that we can bring our assets to fill those unmet needs, but also grow our business and grow it profitably. This is all around the background of our strategy of becoming an auto and a mobility company.
So Mark, what kind of financial commitment are you thinking about, not only right now, but going forward from Ford on this?
Well, we're not disclosing the amounts of what we're going to be investing going forward. We'll talk a little bit about that next week at our Investor Day, but clearly we want to grow in this area. At the same time, we want to make sure that we're keeping our core business of designing and developing and manufacturing and marketing great cars, utilities, and trucks and electrified vehicles very, very strong. But clearly we're going to be allocating more of our capital in these areas of emerging opportunities, particularly around mobility services, because our view is the world is moving from just owning vehicles to owning and sharing them, and we want to be there for them.
Mark, how do you win over investors? Obviously, for returns, an investor might think that buying cars, you're going to make a lot more than just getting involved in bike rentals.
Well, from an investor standpoint, what we're saying is, listen, we have this great core business, this very solid core business of designing and developing and manufacturing great cars and trucks, which provide a great value in terms of valuation of our company. But then we have these emerging opportunities around mobility services, which offers a very attractive upside as we go into these, because first off, they could be higher margin, and secondly, they can be less cyclical and more stable revenues, particularly in our core business, which tends to be in a highly cyclical environment.
And the environment's gotten a little tougher for automakers. A lot of sales have slumped, not just Ford, really across the board. We've seen questioning about whether the peak in U.S. auto sales has come and gone. But at the same time, your sales are surging in China. They were up 22%. Should investors expect to see more potential in areas like mobility, like sales overseas, than the traditional sales we see in the U.S.?
Well, from our standpoint here in the U.S., we did mention this in our third quarter earnings call. The industry is plateauing. Now it's plateauing at a high level. The retail industry was actually down a bit in the second quarter. It was down in August. So we're preparing for that. But albeit stepping back, taking a deep breath, it's still at a fairly high level. So that's going to still be a very, very important profit driver for our business. At the same time, we've invested heavily in China. We've seen some terrific growth there. We continue to expect improving results in terms of our market performance in China. And at the same time, as the world moves towards more owned or sharing of mobility services, that offers growth opportunities for us, and we're going to pursue those very aggressively while at the same time not taking our eye off the core business.
And Mark, San Francisco is your first target for mobility. Do you know which cities might be next? Are you talking U.S. next or global?
Well, we're talking global. Part of our announcement today is we're talking about working with global cities. We're starting here in San Francisco, In the case of the Dynamic Shuttle a company that we've purchased, we'll be scaling that. We're going to go to add 5 more cities in the next 18 months. And those will be global in nature, not just here in the U.S., because this issue of congestion and growing cities is a global phenomenon and a global challenge.
Ford's Mark Fields, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks, Rhonda.
I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.